What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. A few bits and pieces to get through as we get into the latter stages of the transfer window with around 2 weeks to go. But let's start off with some non-transfer news, and let's start off with Cuti Romero. And everyone saw his shirt pull, or his hair pull on Cucurella this weekend. And Simon Stone of the BBC confirmed yesterday there will be no further action on Romero and for the Cucurella incident yesterday. VAR reviewed it and it declared it as not a red card, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I mean, they can't, if VAR had seen the incident, they can only do retrospective action if it was missed by VAR. And the fact of the matter is it wasn't, so they can't turn around and say that VAR got it wrong or anything like that, so there's never going to be any further action for this one.
Yeah.
So I think it's positive. We can't be missing Romero for 3 games or anything like that, so very much he got away with one. He can count his lucky stars that it wasn't decided to be a red card at the time. So lucky, Romero is very, very lucky, but happy days for Spurs.
Yeah, and it's also come out from that game that Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte both being charged by the FA as well. So they're both going to miss the next game, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Let's move on. Let's talk about some transfer news now. As Destiny Udogie has completed his medical at Hotspur Way yesterday and is set to sign permanently before being loaned back to Udinese. Udogie will join Antonio Conte's team for less than reported fee last week, but it will be £15 million, rising to £18 million if certain add-ons and bonuses are met. And there's a quote from him, and it says, "I'm very happy. It's a good feeling to go to the Premier League and work with Conte and to sign with Tottenham. I am convinced that with Mr. Conte, I'll be able to develop further." So good words there from Destiny Udogie.
He seems certain Conte is going to be here next season, so that's happy days as well. Maybe if he's had a chat with Conte, and if he seems convinced, it sounds like Conte will be sticking around for a while, which is very good to hear. Maybe that's the most important thing out of those quotes. But yeah, look, he's a left back with supreme potential, and if we can get him playing to a very high standard and improving on what he's showing in Serie A, then we could have a serious left back on our hands.
Exactly, and if you want to see all his goals or assists, that video is sitting on the channel as we speak as well, so go and check that out. Some really good content there. But let's talk about some outgoings, and let's talk about Giovanni Lo Celso. It was made official over the weekend. Giovanni Lo Celso has joined Villarreal for the 22-23 season, but it has no buy option included in the deal, which is a bit annoying.
It's a bit annoying, but also means we can negotiate a better deal if he has a really good loan spell and maybe a good World Cup as well. Then all of a sudden he could be worth a lot more. So from that perspective, if we were looking to only get 12 million or whatever it was, maybe he could be worth a lot more in when the transfer window comes. And if there is a clause to say if we get a permanent offer, we can break the loan deal. And we can sell it for money. So as much as it's a bit frustrating, I can see the positives in it.
Yeah, but it's just good to get these players out the door. And in terms of Lo Celso, Ndombele we'll get into in a second, still got Winks and Reguilon at the club, with no real talks about them two leaving the club. So that one I think is going to drag on until literally the last few days of the window, but hopefully deals can be done. But in terms of Tanguy Ndombele, Fabrizio Romano brought to us yesterday that Napoli are now set to sign Ndombele from Tottenham. Loan fee around €1 million, buy option for €30 million. Spurs have accepted their proposal. Napoli will cover the main part of the salary, which is very interesting. I'm not sure how much is considered as the main part.
Over 50%, I assume.
Yeah, let's hope so, which is a lot of money.
Unless it's at least over 50, you know?
Yeah,
right?
But you know, there's been something from Jonathan Veal today, and he says that the deal actually isn't nothing agreed yet. Jonathan Veal is saying, so he's talking contrary to Fabrizio Romano, which is interesting.
Well, but it is coming out of Italy. Romano's usually pretty good with news coming out of Italy, but
yeah.
Veal's also very good with Tottenham news, so
exactly. So
it's difficult to know what's true. But hopefully, this is a deal that we can get over the line as well. And if it's with a buy option of €30 million, that would be a very good deal for us.
It is a very good deal. But having said that, we did hear last week that there would be a clause in there about a Champions League clause. If they make Champions League, that will become an obligation. But Romano isn't mentioning that at the moment, so I'm not sure if that clause is actually added into this deal.
all these rumours about clauses. You heard Lo Celso, so many people saying it was a buy option. Then Romano said there's no buy option. Then everyone came out saying, yeah, he's right, there's no buy option. So maybe we just have to wait to see exactly what the situation is. But it looks like he's headed to Napoli. That's for sure.
Yeah. Which is, again, getting Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy and Ndombele off the books for this season at least has got to be seen as a positive, that's for sure. Let's move on. Let's talk about Bryan Gil now. This is an interesting one. Hector Gomez, a Spanish journalist, says that Tottenham have blocked the transfer of Bryan Gil despite the player having an agreement. And I imagine that agreement was probably with Valencia or Real Sociedad. Those are the two clubs that have been rumoured to be looking at Bryan Gil. But this probably means that we're not looking at another attack. We're not going to bring in another attacking option unless we do bring in one that he'll go later on in the window.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling it's just an insurance thing in case we can't get... I think we are looking at one, and if we can't get one in, we always have Gil to lean back on, which isn't the worst option in the world, although clearly Conte doesn't really trust him right now, and that's going to have... he's going to have to go a long way to prove that he can make an impact in the first team. But... I'm conflicted by that news. Obviously, I'm a bit disappointed that it does indicate that maybe we're not going to sign another attacking player. But I am happy that we're not getting rid of him and leaving ourselves short at the end of the window if we don't get another attacker. So I'm happier that Gil's going to be an option available to us than I am than him not being available and us not signing an attacker. If you get what I'm saying,
100%.
But I am a bit disappointed that we aren't going to get another attacker, so a bit conflicted on it. But if Gil can prove that he's ready to make an impact and ready to contribute, then it could be good news for us, because he could be another option and maybe he can surprise some people.
Does that seem like good depth to you when you're looking at just the front three alone? When you're looking at the right hand side, you've got Lucas Moura, you're looking at the number 9, you're looking at Richarlison, and on the left hand side you're looking at Bryan Gil. Is that enough for you?
I mean, if you go into a Champions League game with a front three of Gil, Richarlison and Moura, you'd probably say that's short, wouldn't you? You probably want more quality. But then again, maybe Gil can be better than we hope. Because we know he has quality. He just needs to be able to impose himself on the game. And if he can do that, then all of a sudden, Richarlison's a pretty decent second choice striker. Lucas can do a job on the right wing. He's pretty good in the Champions League as well. We know that. And Bryan Gil maybe can be decent, but on paper, you're probably thinking you want a bit more quality in your second string. But our first string is very good still.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling pretty much the same way. I mean, I'd prefer to have different options there, but if Bryan Gil can actually click this season, it could become like one of these announcement seasons, coming of age seasons, if he really does knuckle down and with the physicality and get to grips with the Premier League. Because I don't think anyone can doubt the ability that he does have. He just needs to get with the physical grips of the English game.
And Perisic we also have as well. You could argue, like, if you have a front three of Moura, Richarlison, Perisic, it looks a bit better.
That's true. Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about Milenkovic Savage. Calcio Mercato saying that Tottenham could return to signing Milenkovic Savage this window. Antonio Conte is said to be a huge admirer of the player. Obviously, he's been a star in the Serie A for a couple of years now for Lazio, and I, for one, would be 100% behind this signing.
I mean, it would be brilliant. He would be a massive upgrade in terms of what we can do in midfield and the options we have and the quality as well, on the ball quality, the creative spark he can bring. Do I really believe we're going to splash big money on him right now? I don't. But I hope to be proved wrong. Maybe if we see him as an alternative to like Zaniolo or Paqueta or Maddison or something like that, maybe that is something that we feel like we could have a role in. And is he a bit more versatile than I expect? Because I'm pretty sure he either plays in the cam or a CM. He doesn't really play in the forward positions, if I'm right in saying that.
I think you're right, yeah.
So, from that point of view, I'm not saying there's no room for him, because I definitely think he probably starts for us. But is it position that if we're looking to, late in the window, to upgrade somewhere? I mean, I guess he's a very good passer, to be fair, and he's pretty creative. So, I mean, I'll be all for it. I just don't know if he's the right profile that the squad needs. But for sure, I mean, if we're going to upgrade in that position and get someone like him, I'm never going to complain about bringing that kind of quality. That's all I'm saying. But I just feel like, I don't know, if he's a CM predominantly, isn't he? So I don't know why, when we have 4 of them, would be going for another one. But I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, if he does come in, you're looking at Bentancur, Bissouma, Skip and Højbjerg. I mean,
and Savic, yeah.
Probably, he's probably going to be the other side with Bentancur and Bissouma. And in terms of Bentancur, Bissouma and Savic, where do you think he is in the pecking order there?
Probably top.
Yeah, he would be, wouldn't he?
I don't think so. I don't know. In terms of midfielders we have, I don't see it as a side. I think all 4 of them are very, very interchangeable. They can all play with each other.
Yeah.
So I think he just becomes a 5th midfielder.
All right, well, we'll see how that one plays out, but I'm not holding my breath. Next up, we're going to talk about Leeds goalkeeper Ilan Meslier, as Phil Hay says that Tottenham are a side who are particularly interested in Meslier. United are interested in Meslier too, but Tottenham are a far more likely destination, which is interesting. Do you think that he could be Hugo Lloris's successor?
Well, you never know. I mean, I think he's done pretty well at Leeds, to be fair. For a young goalkeeper, I think he started at like 20 years of age, starting in goal for them. He's now, 22? And I think he has... I have to give him credit. He's adapted to the Premier League fairly well. Although, I would say he was a bit lightweight in his first year, and he got bullied at set pieces and stuff like that a bit too easily. But that's always going to come when you're that young, right? Coming into the Premier League. I remember when De Gea first came into the Premier League at a very young age, and he was struggling really badly, and then he grew into the role. And if Meslier continues his trajectory, I think he could be a very good goalkeeper, and he's extremely, extremely good shot stopper. I'm pretty sure he's quite good with the ball at his feet as well. But it's whether he can dominate boxes. Look, he's got the height. I'm pretty sure he's tall. He just needs to add some strength to his game. And so if he comes in a very young age, and we will definitely be signing him with a view of him being our keeper for the next 10 years. That's for sure. If we do, and look, he is French. Maybe he can learn a lot of Hugo if we get him in while Hugo's still at the club. So I'm not going to be too against it. I would say right now he's not as good as Hugo, but maybe in the future he could turn out to be.
Yeah, I mean, when he first came to the Premier League, I thought he was a bit calamitous, to be honest. But I think that the more he's played, the more I've actually liked the look of him, to be honest. I think if we were to bring him in, like, let's say, next summer, I would still want to see Hugo being our number 1 for the next couple of years, and then maybe grooming, like, Meslier for that position for another 2-3 years. So I can see definitely positives to the move and to the links. But right now, as it stands, I don't think he's good enough just yet to take that number 1 spot. Let's move on to another interesting one. A player called James Garner at Manchester United through the academy. There's been a few different publications all talking about him, and the Telegraph are saying that Man U have decided to sell James Garner, with Forest and Tottenham interested. United value him at 14 to 20 million. Samuel Luckhurst says that Tottenham are interested in Man United midfielder. David Ornstein has also chimed in, and he says that Tottenham have been watching Garner. Romano talked about it last night, and he says Garner has good chances to leave Man United in the next days. There are 3 to 4 Premier League clubs interested, but Tottenham are unlikely as things stand. And Ali Gold was the last one to chime in, and he says Tottenham hold an interest in Garner. However, whether they make a move is not yet decided. I mean, who knows much about this guy? Probably not many people outside of Man United. But what's your opinions on it?
We played at Forest last season, didn't he? And he played pretty well. From what I gather on loan, I think he got 4 goals and 8 assists in the Championship. Look, he's young. He's English. He's a pretty good passer of the ball. He's a hard worker, but he's very much, I believe, in the mould of the midfielders that we already have. I guess him being a young English player plays into his advantage, and maybe that could be another option.
21 already.
He's 21, yeah. But if Man United aren't so interested in keeping him, I mean, I guess if you look at Man United right now and their judgments, you could argue that just because they're not interested doesn't mean their judgment is very good, because they seem to be making very bad judgments right now. But doesn't seem to be one which makes a lot of sense in the sense that surely he'd be leaving Man United with a view of becoming a first-team player somewhere. at his age, looking to develop himself in the Premier League. Like, why would he come to Tottenham where he's most likely going to be fifth in the pecking order right now?
If not more, with Sarr and all that still at the club.
He might be above Sarr right now, but
you never know.
But exactly, he's going to have a tough competition just to earn minutes on the pitch. Why? Like, surely he'd rather go back to Forest or something where he's starting every week and he can really find himself. But if we really believe this guy could be a big talent, and it could be, if we could get a good deal for him at a young age, maybe it's one that could go under the radar as a very astute piece of business, considering the homegrown quota and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it doesn't make so much sense given his profile and where he would be in the pecking order.
Interesting. And last but not least, Spurs have appointed a new chief scout in Leandro Gabanini, and he is being employed he has been employed as a result of the restructure of the scouting network under Fabio Paratici and Greta Steinson. He was one of the key men in the Pozzo scouting network for Watford and for Udinese as well, which is an interesting development, seeing as apparently he's been working for Spurs for the last month anyway. It's been just kept under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I see. They didn't want it to be public knowledge.
Yeah, but it did come out yesterday that he left the Pozzo family at the end of May, and he joined Spurs about a month ago.
I was about to say, it's a good thing he comes at the end of the window, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
No,
I said that last night to someone.
Clearly, it's all
it
right.
actually says here that he's joined Spurs a month ago.
To be fair, if you look, I know obviously Watford have had like a scattergun approach to their transfers since coming to the Premier League, but there have been some gems in there. You look at Richarlison, you look at Emmanuel Dennis, you look at João Pedro. Like they have been able to identify some really good talents, and so if he can do that for us, that'll be very good. I think obviously right now I've had a very good window. Maybe he's had a part to play in that. I don't really know, but look, any additions to our scouting network. We have to obviously see what he's made of in the market, but hopefully he could strike up a good partnership with Paratici and Steinson.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. Like, we're focusing so much on the restructuring of this club because it's been so wrong for so long now. Probably since Mitchell left under Pochettino. I mean, the whole thing has been a whole complete mess, and it's just like Fabio Paratici just seems to be coming in and sorting everything out from the manager to everything around the place. And we brought a Tottenham update. I was talking to Henry Wright about it a few days ago when you were unavailable that day, but he was talking about making the players come in wearing suits, giving the aura of a big club, and also the team bus is now painted with Tottenham. It's not just that Elliston's look. I mean, there's all these work going into like these small little details of everything Fabio Paratici is heading up, and I'm loving every second of it, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. And I can see the standards changing, and maybe the mentality of the club seems to be switching. And obviously Paratici knows what it's like to be a massive club and be part of a team that's winning over the long term, and that's what he's trying to build at Spurs, and that's very exciting.
Apparently in Italy, in Juventus, in the Juventus fan base, they're calling Spurs Juventus on Thames.
Juventus on Thames. Brilliant. I wouldn't mind that.
But there you have it. That is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.